Hello, and welcome to the ShrubSMP Season 3 World Download World Tour. Season 3 was built and played in version 1.18.1 of Minecraft, and we are starting off, as always, here at the central spawn area that was built by the builders, where all the players would spawn in and get their start. Now, the first thing we'll notice about the spawn area is, as we take a quick look around, there's no real town to speak of. There's no structures, there's no buildings. It's just this very decorative, quaint, nice little cozy place to spawn in and get your start in the world. And I think part of the reason for that is because instead of having a large area to get started in, we wanted to encourage the shrubs to branch out and find kind of lands distant, we'll say, and use the Nether hub, which we'll talk about in just a minute, to make it easy to access really prime building locations that can be found out there in the world, especially where there's cool Minecraft generation going on. If we follow the typical agenda, we would be checking out world spawn next, but it turns out that the exact world spawn is that tree right behind me. It's actually the second block up in that tree, which does tell me that this area was probably a little higher, and the builders had to terraform it down so that they could build this decorative structure for us to spawn in. So there are no creepers, there's no explosions, there's no holes to speak of because it's the central spawn chunk and it's well lit up, and I think that's pretty much all there is to say about the world spawn. That means it's probably time to go head off and check out my starter area, and it turns out it's just over the hill over here outside of spawn, and we can check that out now. Okay, I'm up here in the sky in creative mode, and just before it leaves render distance, we can see spawn back there behind me, and if I turn around, we'll see, as I head towards this hole in the ground over here, I had come across this hole in the ground, actually, and decided, hey, if I could just build down there and go ahead and build under this mountain. So that's exactly where I set up my starter home. You can see it underneath there, but on the surface, something I built near the end of leaving this area was, you can tell by the dirt 6, it's mine for sure. We'll check this out first before checking out the actual starter build itself. Is something I did with detailing. So I just wanted to build before I left, as we see my abode is very humble down there, to use more theming detail, to try to get the hang of like this diorama back here. It's a horse farm, so what you would expect to see is some of these blocks and some of these details and decorations, utilizing gates and fence posts and stairs and slabs, and just kind of making different shapes to bring the building to life a little bit. And that's the last building that I built in this area before heading off to the major Dark Castle location. But again, to go back to the starter area, we just head down here in the hole in these stairs that I built, all cobble stairs, early game, right? And this is the entrance to the area. It's nothing special. We already have another portal there, which we'll head into to find our Dark Castle. But some familiar faces on the outside at the very least. There's the cactus farm all the way on the end. And this is, again, the longer the cactus farm runs, the more indication of how long I've been, at least in these loaded chunks in the area. Very few here, so I don't know whether that means this area wasn't loaded a lot, or like it doesn't look like I spent a lot of time here. Or maybe I made a lot of green dye, I don't know. And then we always have our starter wool with our sheep and melons here. I got an automatic melon farm. Again, just collecting on one side or the other. Yeah, a pretty decent supply. I must have really liked melons because there's a whole other manual melon farm over there. There must have been in that village back there a melon only, no pumpkin guy villager to trade with. And I got my sugarcane over here as well. Now let's head on to the inside to see where it says 6 cluster starter home. I remember now, this is probably even smaller. As a matter of fact, I know it's smaller than even season 2. I walk in the door and this is it. This is it. This is all I needed to get my start. Now, we did get a mending villager, Mr. Menderer here, who had a mending book from the village just outside, and brought him down here so that I could use my enchanting setup and get all my trades so that I could get my initial tools with mending. I have a fun little structure here. I don't know how I got those sea blocks. I must have come back and added this later, but there's some tropical fish and a little 2x1 here, and just some regular storage right here, and 1 chest worth. So definitely did not intend to spend a lot of time here at all. We have our enchanting setup, and instead of chickens this time, it's cows. So we got our steak and leather, generator here. You would just grow them up after a while and use these hoppers to collect when you have to cull them down a little bit. And cats. So I definitely had, there was some outside, I have some in here. I remember one of the advancements I had never gotten before was the one where you collect all the cats. You have to get one of every cat variant. And that was the Minecraft advancement. So I got these couple of guys on the inside, and if we head right out front, there's the rest of them out there. All of the cat variants tamed and kind of hanging around my starter base, and that got me that achievement. And now that I think about it, this really was the first time I got that achievement. Well, that's pretty much it for the starter base. Again, a very humble abode indeed. And like we said, most of the players really just branched out and head out into lands distant from the spawn area. I just needed to get my start somewhere nearby, and then let's head on into the Nether portal to see what that Nether hub's all about. And then from there, onward to the Dark Castle. So let's head on into my portal. And the first thing we'll notice is, wow, so much more decoration in these tunnels than there had been in the previous 2 seasons. This one heads off to another player's. We'll check that out later. And this actually is my build. I made there's 2 zombies here. There's a double zombie spawner right at the end through that portal, which I think will be cool to check out before the Dark Castle. And at the end of the hallway, we have the door, welcome to the ShrubSMP Nether Hub. As we go through, wow, the first thing we see is this cavernous, themed, very detailed, highly intricate, amazing build that was built by the builders before we had access to the Nether. This is our central Nether hub, and these portals lead directly to the world spawn that we saw at the beginning of the episode. There are just some really cool details that I wanted to kind of check out before we headed off into one of the directions down the tunnels. Is that there's some really cool details here. Check this out. So this is one of the cool features. This pillar here is actually rebuilt underneath this glass shadow effect. Now this is a cool effect that's done in Minecraft where you have layers upon layers of glass, and you can, depending on the color and what's at the bottom of them, you can give this shadowy effect. But you put the blocks in between, and because they're not really transparent, it looks like a reflection, and that's a really cool trick that they did here. But it's actually blocks underneath there. Really cool visual trick, and I think those pillars are really quite amazing. Now, in each direction, there's 4 directions. They're all themed a little differently, and they have books at the beginning to tell which direction you can put your coordinates in. You can put which player and what destinations lie beyond. Much like my sign here, in terms of the starter home and double Zambo grinder, there are some other folks in this direction. A lot of the other players went in a different direction, and we'll see that in a little bit. But you can imagine, we were really quite amazed when we first saw this, because like for season 1 and 2, we really didn't do much in the Nether in terms of hubs. We started to, at least in season 2, and now season 3, they really stepped it up a notch. I'm still impressed coming back here in the world download, and yeah, it's really amazing. So our next destination is going to be a quick little intermediate build that's right through the door again, where I had built this double Zombo grinder. I call it a zombie grinder. Everybody has their nicknames for the zombies, but in this portal, we find ourselves in a finished area where I had first gotten down here and found, just inside this glass, a regular zombie spawner, and I made a typical grinder out of it where the zombies would get sucked up in the water and drop down to a 1-hit killing chamber. As you can see, over time I finished with decorations, collected lots of leather and gold armor, which the zombies drop, and as you can see, one there wearing leather pants. But later what I found out, and then I've since incorporated, is there was a second zombie spawner within range, so that they could be collected into the same water stream. There goes one, gets sucked up right now. He should be falling down any second. That they would both then, there he goes, that they'd all fall down, and it would increase the speed at which this thing could be used. So it was a cool little fortunate circumstance that we were able to find that, and it took me some time to kind of learn how to use the water correctly, how many of these guys would be coming down, and how to get them to fall down in the water and then collect up with the other ones, and then from there all land in the same spot so that they can be knocked out with a sweeping edge sword and taken down in 1 hit. So that's this quick little stop on the way to what I've been calling the Dark Castle. But as it turns out, there is no Dark Castle, because I have since been to the area, and it's where we're going to go now. It was a jungle build, and boy, this was a lot of fun. So let's just get over there, we'll talk through it. I completely forgot how cool this thing was. As much as I'm so used to building Dark Castles, taking off for one season in season 3 here to do this was really kind of cool and one of my more favorite builds that I've ever done. So let's go check that out. Alright, heading through the nether tunnels, I have to take another detour because just something else I completely forgot about. I built, wait till you see this, I found a mushroom island and I thought it would be a good idea to build a giant replica of a mushroom cow. You gotta see it to believe it. So let's just go through. I'm sitting here. Yes, that's a giant foot in front of me. There's plenty of mushrooms around. I have a little auto smelter here. And if I hop up into the air and get ready to turn around, there it is. There's a giant replica mushroom cow. So much like the replicas of the melons and pumpkins and the Enderman that I did in another season, I don't know what compelled me to do this. Says, oh, I found this mushroom island. Let's build a giant mushroom. And then it turns out one of the other players on the server came and built me a little baby mushroom at one point to go along with the big one here. But this is a quick little detour. It was a giant mushroom. And if I remember right, yes, there should be an entrance in the, but there is. I went ahead and said, oh, well, what can I do on the inside? Let's build a sugarcane farm on the inside. And I was able to collect sugarcane for my rockets. Where I had a creeper gunpowder farm elsewhere, this is where I collected automatic sugarcane. Of course, it only works when I was over here, so it really, I mean, I was surprised there was as much as there was in there, because I didn't spend a lot of time over here, except for to build it up. But that's it, so again, it's just a really wild and crazy build. I love building structures and statues. Alright, we've arrived at the location in the nether here, 6 classers, jungle temple, trading hall, and storage. And we got an iron golem standing guard here. We're just going to squeeze by him. But yeah, now it's all coming back to me. I just can't wait to go in and check it out. We start, where did we start? Oh, I'm on the wrong side of the portal. So actually, there's an automatic melon and pumpkin farm. You can tell by the theme, which dispenses right down here. This was the first one that I learned how to build. It's really just a standard redstone melon and pumpkin collection farm, and it did pretty well that I used for trading with my villagers, because on the other side of this portal, if I just flip to spectator mode, get on the other side, this, I definitely spent a lot of time in this area. Now it's no wonder that my starter area was so humble, because as we can see, well, let's see, this goes downstairs to a basement. I think we'll save that for last. This is a full storage system, much larger than any of the storage systems that I have done before. It's an auto sorting storage system. You put the items into an input and they come out here and they get automatically sorted into their associated items. Look at how many rows we have. So there's 2 in there, and there's 2 down here, and then it wraps around the back. I also have an iron farm that you can't see that's hidden and just constantly produces iron. So another thing I learned how to do for the first time. And villagers. I've got tons of villagers in here in this small little space. So where we are actually is in a jungle. And as we can see, I got my little bee farm in here, same redstone as in my previous seasons, to collect the honey and honeycomb. Anything else here? A smelter? Nope, we got a smelter. We got a couple of golden apples for flex. That's the storage system as we come in through the portal. I don't know why I put the portal all the way back there now that I think about it. But yeah, so there's actually a wheat farmer behind here, if I remember right. Let's see. Let's kind of, you know, we'll just check behind the curtain real fast. Yeah, there he is. So wheat farmer. So I got automatic wheat collection as well. A lot more automatic things in this season compared to last season. And this is the sorting deposit. So this is where I would put the items in, it would go up an elevator and out, get distributed through the storage system. Let's see, anytime you see this painting on the wall, that means there might be an opportunity to walk through, and sure enough, this is where all those villagers came from. In this version of Minecraft, I guess I know there's 2, you can get Boo, his name's Boo. The reason his name's Boo is because if you expose a villager to a zombie and he gets all scared and then the zombie attacks him, a zombie has a chance to convert them into a zombie villager. And then when you cure the zombie villager, their trades are at a high discount. And that's how I got all of my villagers for the villager trading hall to have such great deals. This is where I would collect some sugarcane as well manually, and then right back out. So that's the little painting trick, and that's where I got all my villagers from. As we transition here into the cobblestone, this is actually the basement of a jungle temple. And when I first found it, that's when I decided to build here. And I said, I wonder if I can just clear this out and make it a little villager trading hall. And then you can see we got all these librarians with every single trade. I eventually got them all down discounted, very cheap, and we got them all into position. And they're all down here in the basement. There's still a couple upstairs yet. And then I just expanded off in that direction to make this storage system. So here's the main entrance to the temple. We'll take a look at it from the outside. Ah, yes, and then the map. So it's kind of giving away the large structure over here on the side. Right here where the green guy is, that's where the desert temple is. And then there's some other builds outside, including this massive pyramid that I built out there. But to finish up the inside, a couple more villagers on the right here on the second level. And that's pretty much it. So squeezed a lot into a small space. We got every single villager and plenty of books down there, plenty of librarians and a storage system. And then now we'll prepare to take a look outside to what took me, honestly, quite a long period of time. But boy, was I really happy with how it turned out. The pyramid build. So let's head outside and see what things look like just from above and turning around and taking a look. What you can see is I got a couple other features to talk about, but there's the original jungle temple. I called it a desert temple a moment ago, but definitely jungle temple. And I built some kind of like light treehouse structures. I got a little treehouse that we'll show over here before the giant pyramid, which is the fun part, the part that took me the longest and has the most detail to it. And then I started placing these little heads, like kind of like Easter Island. These are like just stone weathered villager heads, and like there was some type of civilization here. It kind of goes with the theme of the jungle temple. Like there was, I don't even know how to explain it. Like there must have been a cult. There's always a cult, isn't there? So before we check out the details of the temple, let's just check out the quick little details again. You know, just learning how to use different blocks to make a little cozy home. Just some carpet here with the moss carpet. That was relatively new. And a backboard for the double bed here. And looking at just a quick little sink and a cooking area, some furniture, and a nice little open air with all these trap doors and the vines, and using banners for like, so it was just a cool little way to add a bunch of detail to a little tree house like that. Just outside of the small temple, of course. And then over here is the large temple. This giant pyramid, which I cleared out. You can still see it's a little rough around the edges because I didn't have time before the end of the season to shave out these the carving that I did when I had to clear out the area. So ideally you would terraform these, you know, the outside surfaces so that they would blend in a lot more with the hill behind. But ran out of time for that one. But we have the four double size. I think these are the same size. Yeah, they're larger, double size than the ones out front, and they have glowy eyes. The frog light were new in this version as well, so we incorporated those. And all of these blocks were placed by hand. I put all the grass. I bone mealed a bunch of grass. I put a lot of leaves to show for bushes. I put little azalea trees all over the place. Boy, just yeah, it took a long time to build up. Kind of mixed in the mossy cobble with the regular cobble. We got stone pathways leading up to the main platform in the center, and then these four platforms where the heads are just kind of hovering above. I just kind of noticed they are hovering because they're half slabs. They must have some magical properties that go along with those glowing eyes. But if we kind of head down to the stairway and then run up to the middle, this is the final resting place. And again, much like at the end of any one season, you need your main tools, you need your how did you end the season. So I have my tools, all my netherite tools, of course, that I ended the season with, and then all of I had a bunch of backups, or at least 4 backup elytras and some extra armor, and my main netherite armor that was featured here on the armor stand. Part of the flex too is to just take all the remaining diamonds I had and just kind of incorporate them. I did that by building these pillars, through some crying obsidian and gold. Conduits are kind of rare because you have to find the heart of the sea to get them, and I had so many from treasure hunting that I used them as like these floating features, like these magical orbs that were floating around here around the central beacon. Now, one more thing that I tried to do and ran out of time because this thing was just so large, but if we head into the center this water kind of flows down into the middle, and we look down, and once again, another flex build. All of the valuables are down there, including my remaining diamonds and the very rare regular diamond ores in this version of Minecraft. But that's about it. So all I was able to really do was get the floor and some of the lighting in. I was able to create a little bit of a library. I think the idea here was to create this like ancient library of where all the wise villagers would come here. But of course, the villagers aren't all that wise because they just kind of congregate over there in the corner. Those are the ones that I used to get all the quartz while they were in here. And in the meantime, they just hang out over there. I never could figure out why, but they just stay over there forever. Do you know why? No, you don't, do you? You're just a bird. You just hang out here. But those dudes, they're just over there all the time anyway. So this is how I ended the season. We just kind of put our remaining valuables all throughout this floor, made this fantastic pattern in the ground, even using some netherrack there, some raw ancient debris for as much as I had left. But yeah, couldn't really do anything else on the in here, but I even think I have some axolotls swimming around in this water feature in the middle. There was a lot to do this season, and that's, oh boy, what am I bouncing on? Slime! I even found some slime. But yeah, so that's the builds. That's all the builds. This one in particular, if I just fly back out one more time outside, was definitely the largest thing that I've ever attempted to build. Oh, by the way, there's a creeper farm over there that I was using to collect gunpowder. But yeah, easily the largest structure I have ever built in Minecraft up to this point in Season 3 here. And it was really fun to build, very challenging because I had never done anything like it before. And again, it kind of ran out of time because I spent so much time underneath the jungle temple to create the trading hall and the automatic storage system that I kind of bit off a little more than I can chew and not able to finish this. But regardless, this was a fantastic build, really cool to build in the jungle. A little departure again from the Dark Castle, and I think we get back to it in Season 4, so we'll find that out when we get over there. But yeah, really good memories of learning a lot more and continuing in my Minecraft journey to learn how to build more detailed, more automated, and much more large structures. But now that we've seen all of my builds on Season 3, it's time to get ready for the cinematic montage that we can check out all the amazing things that many of the other players built this season, and then of course find a Easter egg that we can pluck out of this world and bring with us into Season 7. For now though, I really do hope you've enjoyed this world tour and look forward to seeing World Tour 4 soon. But for now, let's get ready to roll that montage.